Most students find the reading section extremely hard, irrespective of the desired scores, whether they need 79, 65, or 50. Now, some of the most common reasons that I've come across when students say that I'm really not good with reading is, number one is time management. They just don't know how to manage their time and how should they allocate the time to the different sections of the test. Number two is the lack of vocabulary. Some of them feel like, okay, I am not 100% sure, I don't know most of the words. So Pearson is going to target those words that probably I don't know. And number three is self-doubt and confusion. Oh, is my answer correct? Should I change it? Should I not change it? Should I revise it? Should I not revise it? So these are the most common factors that make the reading section most difficult. Most of our successful students who've given the test and have got the desired scores have always come back and given us this feedback that reading section was not at all difficult and they could easily manage their time and it was very easy and smooth for them. Why is that? Is it because the way we teach, or is it just the materials that we provide? Let me answer this question for you. We at Alchemist Academy make sure that our students do a reading mock test on the Alchemist AI PT practice software every week in the exam preparation lab in front of us. And this test, mind it, is under the timed conditions. When students do these reading mock tests, it benefits them in several ways. Number one, it helps them to improve their time management. Number two, it helps them to improve their vocabulary. Number three, it helps them to reduce the confusion pattern that they have in the real test, like is it the right answer or not. Now, when our students are doing the mock test, we don't just let them sit here and do it by themselves. When they're doing the mock test, our trainers make sure that they are constantly monitoring them, because as trainers, we are able to focus and identify what is your weakness and how can we improve it. So today I'm going to give you a sneak peek into the reading mock test using our very own Alchemist AI PT practice software. When I'm doing this mock test, my main agenda is going to be the explanation of questions along with the time management. If you look at these two things, I think you will get a very good idea on how to do your reading section in the real test. So let's not wait and let's start with the reading mock test. All right, everyone, so let's do the reading mock test and let's have a look what scores we get. We will just focus on two things. One is the way to solve the questions. Two is just the time management. So let's have a look. All right. So I'm going to begin with this. By the look of it, yes, I have a collocation. Now I have 18 questions. I've got about 40 minutes. I should be spending 2 minutes per questions. All right. Now let's start with this one. The first thing that I'm going to request all of you to always do in reading is always skim and scan the question. Because if you skim and scan the question, you have a general idea. So skimming and scanning simply means that you move your eyes left to right, top to bottom, just looking for repeated words or keywords. In this question, I can see it's about probably symbiosis, interaction, species, symbiosis, relationship, symbiosis. Okay, it's about symbiosis. Now, I'll let you know what symbiosis means. Symbiosis simply means the interaction of like two species, like how do they interact, okay? Let's start reading this. So symbiosis is a general term for interspecific interactions in which two species live together in a long-term, intimate dash. Okay, now that's what the definition of symbiosis is. So let's look at the answer options. You've got the word combination, which is a noun. You've got the word association, which is a noun. You've got the word associate, which is also a noun, and you've got the word combine, which means like a verb. They're not being combined. You cannot combine species. They're living together. So I cannot put the word combine. They are not, if you're not putting the word combine, quite naturally, you would not put the word combination as well. So it is either an associate or an association. Now, what is the differentiation between an associate and association? Associate simply means like your partner, your companion, like when you do some business or some trade. But the word association simply means like an alliance, like two people, like two things together. It's just an alliance, like two things living together. In this case, I'm just going to choose alliance. In everyday life, we sometimes dash the term symbiosis to mean a relationship that benefits both parties. So I'm defining the term, I'm making use of something, right? So I may be like, I'm just guessing there could be a word used, but I may be right, I may be wrong. So in this case, let's have a look. We sometimes call, widen, prefer, use. Okay. If you want to go by the individual word meanings of all of them. So for example, if I was to say the word call, it would be like a verb, like you're referring to something. If you would go with the word use, again, that's a verb but I would say it simply means like utilize. If you were to go with widen, like spreading two things across, and prefer is like you have a choice, like you just have a preference of. So we sometimes we could use the term prefer, or we some. Oh no, here you go. Use. We sometimes, as I mentioned it before even reading it, we sometimes use the term symbiosis to mean a relationship that benefits both parties. However, in ecologists speak, symbiosis is a broader concept and can dash close, long-lasting relationships with a variety of positive, negative impacts on the participants. Can dash. Okay, relate, relation, including, include. Again, the same thing. These two words are related. These two words are related. Okay. If you were going with the word relate, I would say it is a verb like you relate to something, like in association to something, or you show some kind of a connection. If you go with the word include, it shows that you comprise of, you're made up of. If you go with the word relation, again, it's a connection. And including would again just simply mean like, um, including could mean a preposition as well. It could mean a preposition because like it's just like you're combining a part of something, like including this particular topic. Like, when do you use prepositions? Like just show the relationship of something to a noun. So in this case, we can including, no, including would not sound correct. We can include. I think it should be include close, long-lasting relationships. As I said, include simply means like comprise of. Like it can, this word, this concept can comprise of like close, long-lasting relationships. Okay, let's move ahead. We wasted quite a lot of time. Okay, children who skip school are dash on family holidays. Government figures revealed today. Okay, I should have skimmed and scanned. However, let's just go through it. Children, school, skipping school, truants, account, unauthorized absence, skipping school. Okay, it's just about like skipping school. So children who are just constantly like skipping school. In this case, all right, let's have a look. Children who skip school are dash on family holidays, and government figures revealed today. Okay. So in this case, what would be the right answer over here? Let's just think about it for a minute. So if you've got the word move, so move can be taken as like a verb as well. Like if you just like, going in the motion or you're moving away from something, you can say considered is, considered would be an adjective. Like if you say, like if you think of something, like I considered this thought before, so it's a way of saying like you've been thinking of it. Going would be like, can be both, can be verb or noun, but I'd rather say it's a noun because it's an act of leaving. And increasingly is like significant rise. So and it's an adverb as well. Dash on family holidays. Okay. Considered on public holiday, on family holidays, I don't think. I think the numbers are going up, are increasingly on family holidays. Okay, few children play truant. Truant simply means like you skip school without any official permission. That's what the word truant means, and that's what the passage is about. His spring term compared with the spring term last year. Children missed 3 days of school last term. So in this case, I could say like 3 consecutive days, um, 3 back-to-back days, or let's have a look. So dash days of school last term compared with 3.7 million days. Okay. So you've got discovery. Discovery is basically a noun, like you find something. Organizing is basically a verb, and like you arranging something. Ordinary is again a adjective, which simply means common. So missed 3 dash days of school. So they missed 3. Why ordinary days would be all right. Missed 3. Let's say in this case, if I was to put, I cannot say discovery days, organizing days. It can either be ordinary or unauthorized. Okay, I cannot put ordinary days because schools do not have ordinary days. So if you were to skip school, you need to be authorized, right? So I'm just going to make a guess. I think it should be 3. unauthorized days from school last term, because over here what I was looking at was truant. Truant means, like as I mentioned before, you skip something with no permission. But a hardcore group of truant 6% of the school dash who account for more than 3/4. So 6% of the school dash. School authorities would be there, because school policies you cannot take out in numbers. Environment is again a noun. You cannot have a percentage of the environment. Population, yep. More than 3/4 of those unauthorized absences are more likely to be on a family holiday than they were in the same period last time. Some 1.2 absences were for family holidays not agreed by the school last term, dash with 0.9% for the same last year. So depends with, no, you depend on something. Comparing with, no, depending, and this is not going to work. Comparing is also compared with. Yeah, that's the collocation. Jesus, that's a big one. Okay, fancy a locust for lunch? Probably not. Just if you live in the West, but elsewhere in the different story. Edible insects, termites, ticks, insects, dragonflies, grasshoppers, and giant water bugs are on the menu. Foreign dash 80% of the world's population. Okay, have a look. After the word and, what do you need? Vowels, and most likely it should begin with A, E, I, O, U. So we can say, there you go. That's the only thing that fits in an estimated 80% of the population of the world. More than 1,000 species of insects are dash up around the world. So you can say, like, they are being presented, they're being given. So for you're eating them, so you cannot mix them up. Served is just an exclamation, and you cannot say cooked up. So I'd say served up. For example, kungu cakes made up of midges are a dash in parts of Africa, Mexico. In Africa. Okay, so midges are a dish. Not really, it doesn't sound correct. No, dish is basically food. Delight. What do you mean by the word delight? Delight would simply mean like you're pleased with something, you're happy with something. So I don't think I'm going to put delight either. Delicacy, fineness. Okay, yeah. Okay, delicacy is used with fruits, so I'll put delicacy. Mexico is an insect-eating or an entomophagus hotspot where more than 200 insect species are dash. After the word are, we sometimes use a verb. So we can use the word over here as they're eaten. So they are consumed. Okay. If you look at this word concocted, which makes like, what do you mean by this word? It means like you are making something with a combination of two things, and we are not making, we are eating, so consumed. Demand is so high that 40 species are now under threat, including the white agave worms. The caterpillars of the tequila giant skipper butterfly fetch around 5,250 a kilogram. Eating insects makes dash sense. Okay, you're eating insects. So rational means logic, and nutritious sense, no, sense is a noun. Nutritional, so we'll use an adjective here. It makes a nutritional sense. Some contain more than meat or fish. Okay, some contain more atom, no. Cells, no. Milk, no. Protein, the word protein simply means like the organic compounds that we have in the body that provides us the energy. So we would just go with have more protein than meat or fish. The female gypsy moth, for instance, is about 80% protein. Insects can be a good dash of vitamins and minerals too. Can be a good origin of, no, beginning of, not really. Origin, beginning are literally the same thing. I wouldn't go with that. Source of, yep, there you go. Can be a good source of vitamins and minerals too. A type of caterpillar eaten in Angola is rich in iron, zinc, and thiamine. What do they taste like? Ants have a lemon time, apparently, whereas giant water bugs taste of mint, and fire ants eat of watermelon. You have probably dash already tasted some of these insects. All right, you've probably, again, rationally, we wouldn't do it logically, attentively, like doing something with attention, intentionally doing something purposely. And if you look at the word inadvertently, it means like mistakenly or accidentally. So we must have eaten, we don't insects, like I would not eat an insect like purposely, right? So inadvertently already tasted some of these things, such as insects are often dash tourist in other types of foods. Tourist, if I use my grammar knowledge as a noun, so what kind of tourist would they be? They are not potential tourists in food now. They cannot be separate. They can be the incidental. I will go with accidental, like they don't happen to be, they just go in. Okay. The US Food Drug Administration even issued guidelines for the number of insect parts dash in certain foods. So, all right, sometimes you don't have control over it, could just drop in. So, we can say um, permitted or allowed or legalized. Okay, you cannot have insects in food legally. So, I think they permitted and allowed, I'd go with the word allowed. For example, it is dash for 225 grams of macaroni to contain up to 225 insect fragments. For instance, it is, let's say, undeniable, no. Shielded, like protected, not really. Concealable, no. These two things, I'll go with acceptable. Okay, let's go with the next. The environment impact of the global textile industry is hard to overstate. One third of the water used worldwide is spent fashioning fabrics. For even ton of cloth, dash. For even ton of cloth, 200 tons of water is polluted. For every ton of cloth, dash, 200 tons of water is produced. Okay. So you are basically making clothes. So I would say you're not sending or bringing, you're just making. So it's produced. Okay. An estimated 1 trillion kilowatts hours of electricity powers the factories that card and comb, spin and weave, cut and stitch materials into everything from t-shirts to towels. Dash behind a solid waste and a massive carbon footprint. So when you're producing something, so something is left back. So left back, recycle back, production back, side back, no, leaving behind would be the right answer. With something often, if you build it, they will come attitude. Mr. Chaudhary has steered Pratibha dash, the leading has steered Pratibha. If I go with this whole thing, Pratibha's text has steered Pratibha towards the leading edge of eco-friendly textile production. Under his direction, Pratibha began making clothes with organic cotton in 1999. Initially, the company couldn't find enough organic growing cotton in certain parts of India to dash its factories. So you can say like they wanted to give it to its factory, to supply it to its factories. To meet the production demand, Chaudhary's teams had to convince conventional cotton farmers to change the growing methods. Pratibha provided seeds dash instructions. So you're growing seeds. So I would go with cannot be exposed, cannot be enforcement, cultivation. All right, let's go ahead. The casual observer does not necessarily dash the skill of how a teacher, for instance, responds to a thoughtful question. Doesn't necessarily development the skill. It doesn't sound correct. Cherish the skill. You don't enjoy the skills. It can be the affects or recognize. You cannot affect the skill. You can only see, recognize it. From a normally quiet student and how they may be very dash from what the standard response. They may be very different from. Okay, there you go. Very different from the standard response to a commonly dash or a talkative student. Okay. Talkative student, what could be? Let's have a look at the answer. Affection, no, someone who's loving. Energetic, maybe. Attractive, I don't think we need an attractive student. Inquisitive. Inquisitive simply means someone who talks a lot. Attractive is very beautiful. Energetic is like full of energy. Affection is full of love. So I would rather say inquisitive students. Expert teachers are aware of what they are doing. They dash and adjust their teaching behaviors to bring out the best in their students. They look, they see, they notify, no, they capture, monitor, they looking, no, they monitor. Yep, that would be the right answer. Let's go forward. Dance has played an important role in many musicals. In some cases, dance numbers are dash as an excuse to add to the color. Dance numbers are combine means you put something together. So this word and this word are like your collocations. You add something to adding. No, this is just not included. dance numbers are just included and an excuse to add color, and spectacle of how the show, but the dance is more dash when it forms an integral part of the plot. But the dance is more, you never say more priority or more essential. Like priority and essentials would be the same thing. So I'm going to leave this out. It's either practical or effective. So let's say I'd rather say the word over here as mm, more effective. Okay. In which the story about classical ballet uh, another example in which story of classical ballet is expected in the world of jazz targeted for meeting the world of jazz is introduced in the way that enhances rather than dash the drama, rather than um, makes the drama, no, interrupts the drama, makes the drama. It could be, you cannot make the drama, it interrupts the drama. So I'll just go with this one. Okay, now we are into our reading fill in the blanks. Now for a reading fill in the blanks, we'll just look at it this way. So you've got the word personality. Personality for me would be an adjective. Uh, it can also be, no, personality is actually more of a noun. Personality would be a noun. Reports would also mean a noun, or if someone reports something, that can be a verb as well. Career will be definitely a noun. Analyzing is the verb. Nutrients is a noun, like you get nourishment or energy from something. Analyze is again a verb. Knowledge is again a noun. Okay. While accounting focusing on the day-to-day management of financial dash of you can say over here as of financial dash and records. So what will be the right one? Financial is an adjective. This should be a noun. So financial, okay, the noun, financial reports. That would be the best. Financial reports and records across the business world. The finance uses the same information to project future growth and to dash expenditure. After the word to, we usually put a verb in the first form. So verb, we have analyzing, V3, we have got analyze in the first one. To, I would say analyze expenditure. And to organize and strategize company finances. By studying this major, you have a better insight on the market. With the right dash and the skills acquired, you should be able to, with the right I would say skills is a noun. You got a conjunction here, so I need another noun. So in this case, I can put knowledge and skills. You would be able, when you graduate, to advise others in making strong investments. This major will help you gain the responsibility of predicting. And again, you've got a verb here in the continuous form, conjunction. So the next word will also be a verb in the continuous form. So I've got only one, so I'll just put the word analyzing. Let's move ahead. Okay, subordination. Let's have a look at this one. The word subordination simply means, like, first of all, it's a noun. It's a way in which I can say, like, you look like the act of being in a subordinate state, like, someone who's a bit more inferior or lower levels of authority. Okay, highlights in this case would be like a noun. Figures, noun, because it's numbers. Emphasis in this case is also a noun, like you put importance, like my emphasis, his emphasis. All right. And for the word career, it's also going to be a noun because it's about your profession. Okay. So London's National Portrait Gallery is currently celebrating the 50-year dash of photographer Sandra Luzara. Okay. So 50-year 50 emphasis, no, 50 years of her career. I can put this 50-year career of the photographer. The 21 portraits on display depict key dash in literature. Key dash. So over here we've got, I can put again a noun. I need a noun. I can put highlights. I can put figures. Depict a key. They don't depict key highlights. Key highlights from key, because if you put highlights, it should be from over here. So I would just put the word figures. Figures in literature, film, fashion from the early 1960s. Subsequent to this action of 40 portraits by Luzara, the display of the National Portrait Gallery dash shots were taken from 1960. So it basically shows you. So shows is with the highlights. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to start reading from this sentence over here, but I'll just quickly skim and scan the passage. So it's about Australian fiction, Australia, digital humanities, interaction, technologies. So it's about some digital resources. Let's have a look. Okay. Now, it says, but it was not until recently that a researcher was able to measure just how many novels were published in that decade, and she found that there had been a decline in novels by Australian writers overall, but confirmed an increase in the women's novels. In this sort of research, testing ideas about literary history, that is dash possible. Okay, let's just have a look at the parts of speech over here. You got the word intelligence. Intelligence is basically a noun as well, like the ability to think and intellect. Debate is also a noun because for me, debate would be like a formal discussion. Off is an adverb, like it's usually used with turn it off, make off, like these are all collocations as well. If you think of bring would be a verb, and becoming would also be a verb, relying would also be a verb. That means like you depend. Okay, that is dash possible. That is, we would say that is after the word am is are were have has had, you need a verb. That is where the verbs, that is bring, relying possible. No, that is becoming possible. Yep. With the spread of digital humanities, the intersection of humanities and digital technologies are opening up opportunities in the field of literature, linguistics, history, and language. That was not possible without computational methods and digitized resources to dash. So to dash, I need a verb in the first form. So the first verb is only this, to bring information together in an accessible way. Transcription software is being developed for turning scans of books and documents into text. As a field of digital humanity really takes off, like, like as I said before, like it just starts flying, it becomes really famous. Okay. Absence from work is a costly and dash problem. Okay, let's have a look. Conducted over here would be a verb. Field over here would be a noun. Had is a verb which is in the past. Occurrence over here would be noun as well. Force is like your strength. So force in this case would also be noun. Disruptive in this case would be an act of disruption. Adjective. So, and commonly is definitely an adverb. Okay, absence of work is a costly and dash. Costly and dash. So it is costly is an adjective, and I need another adjective. So I think disruptive. Disruptive problem for any organization. The cost of absenteeism in Australia has been put at a 1.8 million hours per day, or $1,400 million annually. The study reported here was, okay, after the word was, again, you need a verb, but because was is like a past, so we need to just focus on the past. Was and had would not go, so I'll just put conducted. Was conducted in the Prince William Hospital in Brisbane, Australia, where prior to this time, few active steps dash been taken. So had been taken, you need another past. And understand or manage the dash of absenteeism. So we can say the dash, the occurrence, like how often it took. All right. Call it dealing over here would also be a verb. Deserves is like you deserve something. So in that case, that would also be taken as, it can be taken as a verb. Equally, adverb, investigate, verb, embarrassed, adjective, truancy, like as I said before, you don't appear in school. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. In reality, however, the causes of dash and non-attendance and diverse and are multifaceted. Okay. As I said, not attending, truancy. Okay. Each child has his or her own unique story, and whilst they may often be certain identifiable factors in common, each non-attending child demands and dash an individual response. Demands verb, and I need a verb with something similar. So in this case, deserves. Sorry. So I'll just replace it with something over here. and I'll just put this off just to be clear. To meet his or this applies dash to 14-year-old who fails to attend school because a parent is terminally ill, who fails to attend because he is dash. So this applies equally. So it should be equal on both the sides, and someone who's embarrassed about weight. Okay. Okay. Multiple choice. Choose a single answer. Okay. The overall purpose of the passage is to. So let me just skim. If you get something like this, I highly recommend that just skim and scan the passage and just try to summarize it. Okay, if I just skim and scan the passage, it's about education, Australia, Canberra, schools, religious groups, states, provisions, inaccessible, final year, university. It's something that is related to school. So let me just read through the passage and I will just probably pick up something over here. So education subsidy is one except Canberra, where it is funded by the federal government, state education departments, government schools, and set policies for education practice and standards for all schools. Non-government schools run by religious and other groups exist in all states. Special provision is made for inaccessible outback areas. The bush schooling compulsory in all states, and we find high school certificates dependence on state and rural. Okay, he is not the purpose. The author has not compared the similarities or differences between government and non-government schools. There is no technology. There is, he did talk about technologies, but he is not explaining the technologies. Advice on the ages of compulse. He is not even talking about, this is not his main intent. He's just providing the brief. He's just talking about all the aspects of the education system because it's from school to university. So I'll just go with that. Let's have a look. Okay, next one. What does the reader learn about John Robertson? Okay, in this case, it's too specific, so we'll have to have a very careful look. Okay, so in this case, he was supported in Newcastle. That's John Robertson himself to back in wonder, astounding success. The year was 1910, and those assembled were to hear not only for his generosity to the university, which enabled it to contribute to the pioneering research into tropical diseases, but also of his humanitarian work in southern Africa, which he was ahead of his time in improving work and conditions of local mine workers. To those who knew John in his youth, it will have come as no surprise to hear of his success. He was now enjoying the rewards of fierce determination, desire to succeed, and extraordinary ability. Okay, so what do we learn about him in specific? Okay, now in this case over here, he was born in Africa. No, I wouldn't go with that. He completed his degree in 1910, and those assembly not. No, he did not complete his degree. It's nothing related to that. I wouldn't go with either of these. He studied medicine. I don't reckon that either. I'm just going to go with this. I might be wrong, guys, but let's, because I'm running low on time, I'm just going to move ahead. Okay, MCQ multiples. Okay, let's just have a look at this. So it says that which of the following statements are true according to the information given in the reading passage. Okay. In this case, I'll have to go with, again, skimming and scanning. So this one's about water for public supply, water purposes, reservoir, lakes, rivers, microorganisms, underground water, polluted surface water, contamination condition, runoff. Okay, it's about water and pollution. All right. Let me just go through it in detail and we will just pick up. I'm just going to pick up one very important message over here, guys. I'm only going to pick up one answer if I'm not too sure of an additional answer, because if I'm just not sure, I'm not going to waste my time like just going through the rest. So let me just go through it. Human society is well sunk. Purpose wires. Die after consuming contaminated water. The primary explanation.
pollution, saturation zone, metals or compounds from runoff containing pesticide, cool local mine shafts, affected by farm drainage, sewage works, industry. Kept us long runaway water. Okay, so let's have a look at this. I'm gonna go with if I just go with this information here over here. He's talked about. mm, Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. I'm pretty sure of 100% sure of this because it's clearly mentioned in the passage that it does affect the underground and the river water, but I'm not too sure of the other ones. So I'm just gonna leave it. Okay, I'm just gonna go with one. Let's go to the next question. Okay, I'm running very short on time and I haven't done pre-orders. I'm going to still go through it and I'm just going to go with the following. Okay, which of the following words have the same meaning in the passage as walk? Okay, so which of the words have same meaning as walk? So, well, cities have changed in nature to walk as little as possible. Citizens of manuring is a say. Okay, I can see with this because he's saying that in the past in the cities, I'm just going to make a guess and I'm going to go with. I'm just going to go with both of them. In case they are wrong, that's fine. Okay. Now, oh, this is very interesting. This is my favorite. So let's have a look at this and let's understand this reorder. So this one is about. So people, students like us who go overseas to study. So why do we go overseas to study? Let's have a look. So in this case, I will go with this one. All over the world, students are changing countries for their university studies. Okay, why are they changing their? There should be a reason, right? Why are they doing this? So why do you think we all go out? There should be an answer to this question. So they don't all have. Look at this. All all have the same reasons for going on for choosing a particular place to study. Now, what would we go with the next? I think I'd go with they. Guys, have a look over here. I'm very short on time. The color of the timer has changed. It's a warning. I have to speed up. I'm going to go with they because it's a continuation. They may choose a university because of its interesting courses or perhaps because they like the country and its language. Okay. I would go with again this one. Some students go overseas because they love to travel. They. And I'll put this in the end, whatever the reason. Thousands of students each year make the dreams of university education come true. I'm just gonna go ahead. Okay, this looks easy. Dr. Byron, he, Professor Fitzgerald, the woman, no link. Okay, so it's about doctor and the professor. So what exactly the doctor and the professor have been up to with? Let's just have a look. Professor and his team studied more than 47,000 women, but for what? The woman. Okay. He convinced professor. Who convinced the professor? Okay. So I think it's about this. Dr. Byron has long held that there is a link between a diet and acne. Okay. He convinced Professor Fitzgerald of the University of Hill to set up a study into this matter. So the doctor has convinced the professor. Professor Fitzgerald and his team studied more than 47,000 movements. So this and this together will come as a pair for sure. And Dr. Byron and he should come together. Okay. The woman, I would go with this subject and object. So this is the object, and that's a continuation in the next sentence. The women were asked to fill in a questionnaire about their diet and about their suffering from acne, but no link was found. I'll just go with this. Okay. When this bank was founded, but in Scotland, the first Scottish bank. So it's something about banks. Okay, let's have a look. Which one? In most countries, it's only going through the central banks. Okay, to face the growth of credit was deemed as a dislike. No, this won't be the introduction. When this bank, this won't be the introduction. Still allowed? No. Okay, I will go with this one. In most countries, it is only the government through the central banks who are permitted to issue currency. Okay. Then I would say, but in Scotland, so you're permitted to issue currency, but in Scotland it's reverse. 3 banks are still allowed to issue banknotes. Okay. The first Scottish bank to do this was the Bank of Scotland. I think out of these 3 banks, this one is the first bank. I will definitely put this next. When this bank was founded in 1695, and then I will just put this in the end. Okay. So guys, I still have a minute and 50 seconds left. So that was good time management. Let's have a look over here. I'm going to hit confirm. Let's see what scores we get in the AI. We may be right, we may be wrong. Okay, 86.868. So that's a pretty good score, and we should be okay with that. But still, where did I make a mistake? Was it a blank? So let's have a look at the collocations. All the collocations seem to be absolutely correct, if I'm not wrong. The drag and drops, the reading fill in the blanks seem to be correct as well. Great, my MCQ single is correct. That's also correct. Where did I miss it then? Oh, okay. That's right. Because I was not too sure of multiple answers. I only chose one over here. That's correct. And okay. So there were quite a lot of answers here. I only chose 2. Okay, not a problem. 2, 3. All right. If you look at it, that's all right. I mean, I didn't choose the wrong one. So let's look at the reorders. Yep, the reorder is correct. The reorder is correct. The reorder is correct. All right. So I hope it was a good learning experience and how this mock test works.
So I hope that by watching this reading mock test, you had a rough idea on how to manage your time and how to pick up the answers and how to reduce the ambiguity or the confusion in your mind. Now, first thing first, I really want to emphasize on something when it comes to your scores. Reading and writing fill in the blank and reading fill in the blank is the most important thing in your reading section. If you're aiming for a really high score, be it 65, 79 or even 50, you have to get your fill in the blanks correct up to a good extent. All right. Most of you are really scared of reorders, and at the same time you overly emphasize on reorders, especially I'm talking about the ones who need 79. In that case, what most people do is they totally just focus on reorder paragraphs, irrespective of whether they are good or not. Let me remind you that the scores for MCQ, multiple and singles together is equivalent to the scores of reorders. So if you're not 100% good on your reorders, try to focus a little bit on your MCQ multiples and your singles as well. Try to do all the questions with equal importance. Please do not go by such strategies as option C is the right answer always and you just choose that and you move forward. You're paying $375 for an exam. Be wise, make the right choice, get your desired scores in your first go. If you keep doing mistakes like that, you will keep sitting or keep appearing for the exam again and again. And at the end of the day, it does nothing but build your frustration. If you are not so sure on how to do your fill in the blanks or your MCQs or your reorders or all of them, please feel free to text or call Alchemist Academy and we'll make sure that you are clear with this section. If you're looking for the best place to train for your PT or your NATI in Brisbane and Gold Coast, look no further. Alchemist Academy is the place to be.